Don't you? Hang on.
Now you're in trouble.
Yeah. I got to be careful what I say.
I don't know. I think you're fine.
Oh, I gotta give a
Just go ahead and give out that 50% off sales code if you want.
That'll get me in trouble for sure. 100%.
All right. I'm ready. If you're ready. You ready?
It was a good job while you had
Yeah, that's right. It was a good run.
it. We're ready, boss.
Here we go.
The sound always, it sounds bad here, but it's great on the radio.
Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
Hello, folks. Welcome to another edition of Firing Line Radio Show. I hope you're having a great day out there, wherever you are. I know it's hot, so get some refreshments in you as soon as you can. This show is a rather unique show. I've driven all the way out to Azusa, California, because there is a destination place. If you don't know about it, I'm going to tell you about it right now. Now, this show is obviously aired in Arizona and California, but I'm telling you, guys in Prescott, it's worth the drive. Why? Well, we're over here at Pacific Sporting Arms West in Azusa, California. I'm here with Jordan. He's the general manager. We're going to talk about why this place is so special. It is not your average gun store. It is closer to a museum or a cathedral. How's that?
That may be appropriate. Yeah.
We're talking about the finest sporting arms you're ever going to run into. Now, if you've ever been out to SHOT Show, they kind of do a great presentation out there where they've got everything, and the brands that we're talking about here are, well, Jordan, I'll let you pick it up from there.
So we're very niche. We focus on 90% of our business is going to be clay target shooting and hunting with shotguns. So brands that you probably don't see every day. It's going to be Beretta, Perazzis, Krieghoffs, Gruya, Caesar Guerrini, a number of other smaller niche brands that we also sell. Just about anything shotgun that we can do. We're the largest high grade shotgun retailer in the world. We have about 450 guns in our store here in California, and we have another 350, 400 guns in our second store in Michigan.
I don't even want to know what that inventory is valued at.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Have to pay the bill every month. So,
so
a lot.
We're talking about functional pieces of art, honestly, and this is something that maybe you buy one in your lifetime. Maybe, some people have multiples, but it's a destination place, and it's a destination purchase. When you decide that you want to come out and do something like this, it's something you're going to plan for. It's pretty rarely a spontaneous, oh, by the way, let's go buy a Perazzis. And as guys mature in our lives, and it's nice to have some very nice stuff. And I think that's probably, I would guess, most of your people are have more silver in their hair than you do, because it's something that it's a reward, for a lot of people. They may only get one or two, something like that. Depends upon your station in life, but it's something I think that the average guy can work towards. If this is something that they want to do, if they want to have a legacy firearm, and some of these firearms we're talking about, this is something you'd pass down generation to generation. Remember, somebody bought the Dailies in the 1900s, right?
Yeah.
Or the Richards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody bought those, the Holland & Holland, somebody bought those back then, and they're still in function today, and they're worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it isn't all, it's easy to talk up the guns that we sell that are very expensive because of what we do sell and what we do.
And it's so unique. You're not going to walk into a local place and see a Guerrini on the wall.
Not necessarily. And
not ever.
No, not ever. Some of these guns, but it's not always just about the artwork. Some of it is just the art in the manufacturing of the guns. Some of the guns that we sell are very expensive, but you don't always or aren't always able to see what makes that gun so expensive just looking at it.
Right. There's the engraving, there's the wood, but go through some of the other details.
So what makes these guns so expensive generally is the labor that goes into building them. These guns aren't mass produced. one of the privileges I've had working in this part of the gun business is that I've been able to get very close to a lot of the manufacturers. I've had the chance to visit many of their factories, and
So you had to go to Italy.
I did. Yes,
You
It was
had
quite a
to.
burden.
And Spain. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a rough gig. I'm
first
starting to
world
feel
problem.
bad for you.
But the beautiful part about it is that you can see how much work goes into one of these guns. I went to the Beretta factory, and I got to see a little bit of them making handguns and a lot of them making shotguns, right? And just to give you a contrast, making a Beretta 92 FS, the pistol, it takes them longer to load the carousel with the billets of aluminum than it does to make the rest of the entire gun. But a Beretta DT11, which is kind of their flagship clay target over under shotgun, takes about 35 hours to build that gun.
Of labor.
Yeah, from start to finish. And that's man labor. That's not including all the machine time and everything else.
And that comes down to, Beretta, Benelli, they're more of the manufactured
Yeah, and
side than
they are. I
than
mean,
the others.
Beretta's a neat company because they do everything.
They're actually the world's oldest corporation.
Yeah, that may be. And they're certainly the oldest continuously in business gun manufacturer for sure. And but the cool thing about their company is they make something that's very accessible, very entry level, all the way to some of the most expensive guns in the world.
Yeah, my first shotgun that I bought for hunting, I bought a Beretta 686 Onyx English stock.
Yeah.
Still have it, still shoot it. Love the gun. They still make it. Yeah. Well, and I bought that in 90. So my gun's 32 years old.
Yep.
Right.
And there's been one variation or another of that gun in production since the 1950s. So this side of the business doesn't evolve very much. You compare it to the rest of the gun business, you don't see as cutting edge isn't in the gun. It's in the way the gun's manufactured. New machinery, new metallurgy, those things are continuously developing, and you may not be able to notice the difference between a gun made now and a gun made 30 years ago necessarily. But that's what's kind of neat is that these are classic firearms. They're almost timeless.
Exactly. Like I said, it's an art piece. I have one shotgun that's 32 years old. My original hunting rifle, right? I bought it in 82. I still have it, but it's on its fourth barrel, third stock, fourth scope. That thing is completely, you wouldn't recognize it from where it was when I bought it at Buckhorn Guns down the street here.
Right. Yeah.
In 1982. So yeah, you wouldn't recognize it. But I still have it. But the shotgun, especially the over-unders or the side-by-sides. Matter of fact, why don't you tell us the difference between an over-under and side-by-side?
Well, it's just in the name. One is they're both double-barreled shotguns, one with the barrels one on top of the other, and the other where the barrels are one left to right next to each other.
Okay.
And so that's just the grammatical difference between the two guns. So there's a lot of nuances that make the guns very different to shoot, but fundamentally that's the only difference.
And for most sporting clays, trap, skeet, most people are actually preferring the over-under.
In the last 25, 30 years, over-unders really dominated that market. Side-by-sides have become more and more and more niche over the last, since I got in the business even, have become quite a bit of a kind of a cult thing to do.
Right.
They're still popular, but they're not nearly as popular as they were, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Do you find you shoot a lot, right?
I suppose, yeah.
Yes.
Not as much as I'd like, but I do.
Well, who does?
Yeah, exactly.
So, except for Kim Rohde.
Right. She gets to shoot every day.
She shoots probably more than she wants to. But do you find a side-by-side easier for something like skeet than a over-under, or the other way around?
Not typically. I would say an over-under generally is a much easier gun to pick up and shoot and learn how to shoot with than a side-by-side is, especially for clay target shooting.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea behind a side-by-side is that it's a fast, nimble, and small gun. You can make a 12 gauge side-by-side very light, very slim, very small. An over-under almost inherently is a heavier, bigger gun, which makes it ideal for clay target shooting. And because it's more deliberate, it's easier to control, and it's more comfortable, less recoil. It's just an easier gun to pick up and go shoot clay targets with.
So on an over-under, say you're one of your typicals you have over here. We'll show you those. If you're watching on YouTube, folks, we'll show you those in a minute. The weight is important. So if you are, typically shooting a semi-automatic or something like that, or maybe you get a Benelli Ethos or a Montefeltro, those guns are light,
Yeah.
but they have a recoil management system that really makes the recoil disappear. So they're light, but they're easy shooting also.
Yeah.
When you have a side-by-side or an over-under, you don't have anything for the most part dampening the recoil unless they put mercury or,
Right.
the high end stuff. But the weight of the gun is what's going to help you with that.
Well, the weight and the fit of the gun,
The design,
both.
yeah.
The way the stock should fit you properly, that will help with recoil. And I think that there is a certain extent, to an extent, that like a Benelli gun, that's 5 pounds, no matter how much recoil dampening you put into it, it's still over the course of a day of shooting can be punishing to shoot. Where an 8.5 pound over under is going to be less so, because that weight will make up a lot for where that recoil system in a semi-automatic can't.
Right.
A gas operated gun like a Beretta or a Fab Arm, I think would be a more comfortable gun to shoot all day. But they're harder guns to shoot, I find, because they're big, they're long, they're not very well balanced, but they do work and they're great for hunting. They're light. That's what they're really great at. I don't know that they're ideal for clay target shooting.
Now, when you're talking about shooting a little bit or shooting a lot, so if you went out and you were shooting, what is a little bit versus a lot?
And that's that's another thing I just want to throw in that I love about what I do is, I actually came from the handgun side of this business. That's where I started. And I sold a lot of handguns. And the thing I noticed the most about the people I was selling the guns to was they didn't shoot very much. I mean, there's a few guys out there I knew that were competitive, but for the most part, guys buy a gun, they go shoot once a month and all that. They don't shoot a lot.
Yeah, we're going to get into training right after this.
Yeah.
Folks, Philip Naiman, Firing Line Radio Show. Check out PacificSportingArms.com and you'll see, anyway, just do it. You'll fall in love. We'll be right back after this.
So this is how long this break?
It's as long as you want. Did you use the restroom or anything?
I'm going to just have some water.
Okay. Yeah.
It's hard to do without any preparation. I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is your life. This is, exactly, and I'm just trying to ask questions to elicit some of your knowledge, but this is just like, if you have a new customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Matter of fact, why don't we do that? We'll just say, hey, I'm a brand new customer.
Yeah.
I walk in and you go through. I think the fit thing we want to cover too, because that is so important.
Whatever
Okay.
you want.
Listen, Dan, you there?
Right here.
All right. We got a 9:30 on this one.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hang on. Here we go.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Boomstick Radio. Philip Naiman here. Hope you're having a great weekend. As always, I hope you do. Hey, I am here with Jordan. He's the general manager of Pacific Sporting Arms West. Now, we're in Azusa, California. That's a top secret location, but if you're really dedicated, you can find them. But PacificSportingArms.com is their website. Go online, check out what they've got. It's an unbelievable menu of some of the finest, well, the finest, not some of the finest shotguns anywhere on the planet. We were just talking about, as we left this last post here, practice. Some guys shoot a little, some guys shoot a lot. On a day of shooting, what would you consider as a little? What's a lot? And how do you get better at shotgun shooting?
So a little would be, I think, going out once or twice a month and shooting a couple hundred rounds to your gun. A lot would be going out 2, 3, 4 times a week and shooting hundreds of rounds to your gun every time you go. I've got customers that'll shoot 10, 20,000 rounds a year through their guns without blinking between practice and competition. And I've also got customers that shoot clay targets 3 times a year, but they'll put tens of thousands of rounds to their guns hunting every year. And that's what they like to do. And everybody's a little bit different, but the majority of the people that I deal with, they tend to shoot a lot. And in my mind, that's at least once a week, at least a couple hundred rounds through their gun when they go shooting.
Yeah. So a round of sporting clays is between 50 and 100. Right?
Typically it's 100 rounds for if you're going to shoot
The
a
full
tournament.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. For a full main event course would be 100 shells.
And so, the other shooting sports out there, you've got trap, you've got skeet, you've got sporting clays. Sporting clays is really, I think, made shotgun more popular just because the variation in all the.
It's the variation. It's very accessible, especially in California. We have a lot of really good sporting clays ranges here in Southern California, which, you know, most people probably wouldn't think off the top of their head that we would, but we really do. And it's very popular. Sporting clays and trap are probably the two most popular clay target games out there.
Yeah.
And then skeet. And
So explain what trap is.
so trap is you have 5 stations, 5 little pads that you stand on, all right next to each
like
other.
a third of a circle in an arc, right?
No, they're actually parallel to each other, or they're all right next to each other. And then there's a house in front of you. Well, it's kind of a half circle, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then
But dang, what was I shooting?
and you shoot that's Olympic trap, is they're all next to each other.
Got it.
And so you shoot singles, and you've got one target coming out at a random angle, one of 3 or 4 different angles, and you start at distance, so 16 and then 16 yards, and you go back.
Yeah,
Pass back.
most people, if you're on the first line, you're 16 yards from the start of the target, but you can, if you choose, go all the way back, which just makes it much more
It
difficult.
does. And you actually, in tournaments, you qualify at different yards based on your averages. You will go from 16 to 20 to 21 to 27. all the way
Like a
through.
golf handicap, but way more fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Makes it more difficult. The better you are, the more difficult it has to be.
And guys do, you get 25 straight, 50 straight, 100 straight.
In tournaments, you have to shoot. In trap, especially, you have to be perfect. I mean, if you're going to be competitive, dropping one target is the difference between winning and losing.
That's going
in
home,
trap.
yeah.
And same in skeet. You have to shoot 100 straight constantly.
Now, with that, well, how many people shoot 100 straight in sporting clays?
Very rare. I
Right.
mean, it happens. A couple people do it every year.
A couple every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the difference with trap and with skeet is the birds are a pattern. In skeet, you have crossing birds,
You
high
do.
house, low house.
That's right.
They're the same. You move positions, but the birds are always the same.
They are. But I mean, sporting clays, week to week, they change the courses. So
Right.
you'll go from station to station with completely different presentations.
And the guy setting them up tries to mess you up. That's his whole
Yeah, that's
purpose
the
in
whole goal.
life.
The whole goal is to make it so you can't shoot 100. The
They take it personal if you shoot 100 on the course.
They do.
I've
Everyone's
heard.
disappointed if anybody can shoot 100, right? But you don't want to make it so hard that an average guy can't go out and post a good score either,
Right.
because then it's just not fun.
Well, and it should be accessible and it should be fun. And places out here, you've got what's the one in Rosemead is
LA
International. LA, they changed to LA Clays.
LA Clays,
We've got Rahagi's, you've got Prado,
Prado, more and more in San
more and more.
Fernando,
Yeah, way out there.
Oak Tree Gun Club. in
That's the
Newhall.
one next to the Angeles shooting range, right? Oak
Oh
Tree.
no, that's more and more.
That's more and more?
Oak Tree is in Newhall off the 14.
Haven't been out
and
that one.
Redlands.
And of course, Redlands. Yeah.
Those are the biggest clubs in Southern California. Then you've got Kern County in Bakersfield, and then you've got some decent ranges in Central and North California too.
And so within your drive, you've got a lot of good ranges. That more and more was really quite a place. The sporting clays was.
It's one of the most unique ranges in the country. It's all in a canyon. So
Yeah.
You're shooting up high and you're shooting down, straight down into canyons. It's a really fun place to shoot.
Yeah, it's almost like what do they call it? Oh yeah, hunting.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. And it's more casual, more laid back, and you get to shoot a lot more.
Okay, so we've talked about some different types of shotguns. We've got side by sides. We've got over unders. Why don't you show us a couple what things that you brought out here?
Sure. So we sell a whole range of guns. So I'll start with the least expensive. So the guns that we carry here, I don't know what the best way to show this is, but this is a Benelli Ethos Sporting. I don't want to point it at you.
I appreciate you. Now the Benelli Ethos, guys. This is I shot one with a Benelli rep, and I fell absolutely in love with that gun for a semi-automatic and hunting or shooting. That thing is awesome.
So what's great about it is they're actually really beautifully made for
Mhm.
what they cost, and for your average gun, it's not an inexpensive gun.
So we have a rule here because we don't know if a guy's driving with his wife, right? He finally gets to listen to the show, and
Right.
then you actually read that tag on the end of that gun and he's in trouble.
Right.
Everything costs about $100. Your mileage may
That's right.
vary.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's
That's
about
exactly
100.
what we tell everybody here. Tell your wife not to sell the guns if something happens.
That's right, especially not what you said it was for. But no, it's a moderately priced shotgun.
It is. And I mean, for us, it's an entry level gun in a way. It's $1,899. That's what we sell it for.
Just broke our rule.
But I have to share it just so you can get an idea for what we consider expensive. Where, you know, at a regular gun store, this would be on the higher end
Right.
of what they sell. You know, your big box stores, this is probably the most expensive shotgun that they carry.
Now, some of the features in the ethos.
It is what's neat about it is it's a recoil operated gun, so there's no
Gas tubes, no
gas system.
no gunk building up
That's right.
inside the receiver.
Nothing to clean. It's just basically a big spring, and the recoil lets it cycle the action back and forth. And they're just very simple guns, very well made, very well finished, and very modern. They've got carbon fiber ribs to keep them light now. They nickel plate the receiver. It's actually just a really pretty gun and really well manufactured for what it costs.
And didn't they do something in the stock for recoil dampening
They
too?
do. They've got this this kind of wafer system here that's hidden inside the stock that helps dampen recoil, help make the gun more manageable to shoot, especially for clay target shooting.
Yeah, and so a lot of people will go like to Mexico or Argentina for dove shooting, and they'll use something like this or the
Yeah.
A400, and they just cycle. They
They do.
don't gunk up. You know, you're not. The other part of when you're shooting something like that many rounds, if you're breaking open your over under every 2 shots, you wear your thumb out
Yeah,
with
you
that much shooting.
You definitely do.
Yeah.
And then what we consider like an entry level clay target gun would be, sorry, I have to maneuver around the mic here. This is a Caesar Guerrini. This is probably one of the nicest entry level or upper entry level over under guns that we carry. They have a
Guerrini makes a beautiful gun.
They do. They're super well finished. Great wood to metal fit. They use a silver nitride to coat the receiver, so it's got this beautiful kind of consistent finish all around it. A little bit of scroll engraving. Actually, it's a lifetime warranty, and if you buy it from us, we're an elite dealer, so you get 3 free services with the gun. This one has an adjustable comb, so we can actually fit it.
It's right to you. Let me hold this for a
Yeah,
second.
please do.
So, I might have to take this home.
You may.
Yeah, the Guerrinis is absolutely beautiful gun, folks, and the checkering on these. So this is all hand cut checkering.
It's not. That's
Oh,
actually
no,
done
is
with
it?
a laser on.
Well, they did a heck of a job. The checkering's beautiful. The wood, of course, is select. The fit and finish are fantastic. The fact that it has an adjustable comb will fit you, just like we talk about with our high-powered rifle shooting. If the rifle doesn't fit you, you're never going to do well with it. And this will put you right on the birds. Well, that's a beautiful gun. I'm gonna look at the price tag here. It's a beautiful gun. Very nice. Oh, let's talk a little bit about the choke system.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll pick that up on the back end here. So we're going to talk about choke systems on shotguns, why it's important. Just the improved mod and full may not get it all done for you. And we'll be right back after this with Jordan at Pacific Sporting Arms West. PacificSportingArms.com is their website. We'll be right back after this. You don't get this back. Just get back. Jeez, that is something. Yeah. If this will fit in that black bag, right?
Sure, you just got to take the foreign off.
Okay, thanks. Man, this is gorgeous. Look at this thing, guys. Dan, I might have to get this.
Okay. Nothing for you.
Dan, what was your credit card number again?
The audio levels in this are all over the place. You get close to the mic and it like over distorts, and he's way off mic and it goes way down
All right,
low.
I'll shove it. I'll make him speak up louder too.
It's just, when he turns his head to grab the gun, he's off mic. It's been all over the place.
It's a good thing I have a super producer to fix that.
Well, I'll do what I can do.
Thank you.
No promises.
I'll tell him we'll work on that.
You know,
Boy, you should see this thing, Dan.
if I had different levels, I could adjust the mics, but I got one level.
Right. I'll let him know. So on our on the mics, we've got to keep it in front of your face. And even if you're Like if you're looking at me when you're talking, we just have to make sure it's
Oh, okay.
it's kind of in between us, so he can get a good level.
Sorry,
A little closer, and maybe
I'm new to this.
I don't know,
Oh, it's-
maybe speak up a little louder too.
okay.
Okay, this now goes on my side of the ledger.
All right, you got it. That'll be a good write-off.
That's a big write-off.
Yeah.
Well, that means you're making profit, so that's good.
Oh, by the way, we've been doing the show 10 years today.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Our
Congratulations.
10-year anniversary. Didn't even bring that up. But yeah, for 10 years, I've lost a lot of money on this show. I don't know why. Oh, it's a loser.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprised his wife lets him do it anymore.
I'm surprised to have a wife. Okay, so we'll talk about fit and finish eye placement.
Sure.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Away we go.
Spartans, lay down your weapons! Come and get them!
Hey folks, welcome back. Moulin Lave Saturday. Philip Naiman. I'm over here at Pacific Sporting Arms West in Azusa, California. There are two reasons in your life to go to Azusa. Two. One is Pacific Sporting Arms West. Second one is La Tolteca. Okay. The best Mexican food on the planet. I grew up here in Covina Glendora area. Anytime I head out here, I got to swing
That's an
by.
institution.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing a free commercial for them just out of love for those cheese enchiladas. And I am going by there on my way out of town. Anyway, this is actually the main reason to come to Azusa. Pacific Sporting Arms West. You can find their website at pacificsportingarms.com. I should slow down when speaking English. pacificsportingarms.com. I'm here with Jordan. He's a general manager. These are shotgun aficionados. They have unbelievably beautiful firearms here. But you can't just walk in, grab a shotgun and head to the range. I mean, you can, but I think you'd be a lot smarter if you use the expertise that these guys have, because these are the experts. These are the people who know shotguns, shotgun fit. Shotgun fit is uber important. So what does that exactly mean? I throw out these terms, shotgun fit,
Sure.
Jordan.
So the way you shoot a shotgun is that your eye and the gun and your body all work together. And that's where the pattern goes. That's where the shot goes. It's all in relation to how you're holding the gun. It's all where the gun, how the gun fits you controls where you shoot the gun and how the gun shoots. So where your eye is over the rib is going to control how high the gun shoots. It's going to control whether the pattern shoots left or right. And all of that is a relationship of the stock, where you put your head on the stock, and all that lines up.
So there's some different dimensions that are important, right?
Yes.
You have the line that goes off the top of the barrel,
right
off of the top rib, and your eye should be looking down this top rib
and centered
when you're mounted. Then there's a height here.
Right. That's the comb, the nose of the comb. That's called right.
So that's the front end of your shoulder piece. Right. It should be, it's just behind where your hand grabs it.
Yeah.
This is radio, so I have to use some extra words here. Just look on YouTube. It's a lot easier, guys. So this is the front end of the buttstock.
Yes.
The rear is called the heel.
That's the heel.
And so there's a line from the top rib of the gun or the barrel to the comb and to the heel. And they call that drop at the comb, drop at the heel.
Yes.
And these are very important because your head, everybody's head's a different shape. Right. Some are like giant melons, like Brandon, the president.
That's right.
Yeah. Others are not. But because of the distance between your eye and your cheek, you would need a different size or fit gun than I would.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's even more than that. It's the size of your shoulders, the size of your chest, how far your eyes are apart from each other, how big your cheekbones are. All of those relationships matter. And what's important to check about a good gun fit is the understanding of those relationships. So that's important. The other thing that's important, and I think there is one big misconception, is, and a lot of people will tell you gun fit is everything, but it isn't actually. If it were, everybody who had a gun that fit them well would never miss a target, right? Having a consistent gun mount is as important as making sure the gun fits you, where you are able to put your eye over the rib where it belongs. You're able to get your face on the stock and it's comfortable, and you're able to hold the gun without having to strain yourself. All of those things are important. But if you can't mount the gun consistently, put your head in the same place every time, those relationships aren't going to matter as much. So your technique is as important as the gun fitting you. Those things, those relationships are equally important. It's like a swing in golf. Having that being consistent is as important as having a club that fits you properly, right? So you have to take both of those things into account.
Yeah, very good point. So like in high powered rifle shooting, when we're in a good position on the gun, we've got, you know, like my buddy Nico calls it chubby cheek, where we've got pressure on a cheek on the top of the stock, and in a relaxed position, you open up your eye, you've got a full vision of the scope. Well, the same thing when you mount your gun with a shotgun, is you should be able to mount it closed eyes, and when you open your eyes, be looking in the right position, right?
Yeah, that's the fundamental way to do it, is to do it that. Now there's some amazing shooters out there that do everything wrong,
and blind shooters that do,
right, but they can do it consistently, and the consistency is as important as
that's right.
as everything else.
And if your golf shot's always the same slice, you just play the slice,
right? Why not? You know, and it sounds crazy, but it's 100% true that if you can make up for a lot of bad things if you can do them and repeat them.
So buddy of mine works for Hoggies, been there his whole life. Tito, I don't know if you.
Yeah, I met Tito.
Tito shoots his shotgun under his armpit with his thumb over the top.
Right.
And he's amazing. Yeah,
there's all kinds of crazy stuff that you can do if you can repeat yourself.
You tell him to put it on his shoulder, he'll miss.
Yeah. I'm not surprised one bit.
Yeah.
But that's how you get started. And it's just the way shotgun shooting works. You know, you've got a number of reference points on a gun that allow you to hit a moving target. And it's kind of the reverse of a rifle or a pistol, where, you know, the front sight on a pistol's in focus, and you obscure the rear sight, but you're still able to determine how high the front sight is, left or right.
Right.
Well, the target should be in focus when you're shooting a bird or a clay target, and the front sight of the shotgun should be obscured, should be
it's a reference
fuzzy.
point.
Exactly. So that's how you judge a lead, or how far under or over a target you are. And the gun fitting you well allows you to have that point of reference where you want it to be, where it will work for you. That's what it's all about. And comfort, recoil and stuff like that.
Yeah. So sometimes if you know, I had one gun, such bad fit, it would give me almost a black eye from the cheekbone hitting it. It was just too high for me. I had to have the stock modified. And, you know, that's just because of the fit, and it was very uncomfortable to shoot, especially with goose loads.
I don't think there's a comfortable gun to shoot with goose loads.
Well, punching in the shoulder is one thing, punching the face is another. But you know, got it fixed, and the gun's been great since then, but I just had to adjust that. The other thing that I think is, glad you pointed out, had to do with the mounting of the gun. When I learned to shoot rifles, I mean, we went outside of Barstow Daggett, and we shot jackrabbits with high powered rifles and walking through the desert. And so we'd go out there with 100, 120 rounds of 270 or 300, whatever. But mounting your gun that many times on a moving target with a scoped rifle teaches you how to mount a gun. And, you know, for my purposes, and I want you to correct it for shotgun, you know, my eye is on the target. As I lift the gun up, my eye is always works on the target. As it comes up to the mount, the scope comes up, and I should have the target right inside that scope as soon as that gun's up there. You don't mount the gun, then go looking for a running jackrabbit. That just is exercise in frustration.
And fundamentally, shooting with the shotgun or hunting with the shotgun, it's very much the same. Now, a lot of people shoot differently, and so to say that there's one right way to do it would be, I wouldn't be telling you the truth. There's a lot of really very good shooters that do,
of course,
all the wrong things that we would say, but that's the best way to do it. Acquire the target and then bring the gun to the target is the way to do it without losing sight of the target at the same time. And it's one of the things I like about shotgun shooting. There's a lot of hand-eye coordination involved. There's a lot of technique, and it's fun kind of working on that. It's also very, very frustrating.
Well,
You
yeah,
lose it all the time.
just like anything else that you want to get good at, there's a learning curve, and then there's this giant plateau where you
Yes.
start off and you really suck,
Yes.
and then you're like, wow, and then you're stuck at that level
Yep.
forever, and then the next iteration to come up requires.
A lot of shooting is the best. The best way to get really good.
I
at
thought it was a
shooting-
new gun.
Oh, that helps too.
Yeah.
It does. It does. It'll make you enjoy your misses more when you have a new gun.
But I look marvelous.
Yes, and that's just as important. I mean, if you're going to spend a lot of money on something, you should really like and enjoy having it, not just shooting it. But if you're going,
that is true, and I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
that's okay.
But I do this on my show all the time. I just cut everybody off. It is my show, but it is something. I mean, these pieces, like I said, they're like art. They're functional. They're enjoyable. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but when you open up the case, if you're not smiling when you look at this thing,
You're doing something.
you should go
wrong.
play golf.
Yeah, absolutely. And then this is an extraneous thing. This is not. I don't sell anything anybody needs. This is all about fun.
Needs got nothing to do with it.
That's right. It's all about what you want. And if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on something, you should like everything about it.
Right.
And that's a lot of money to spend to not be happy with something.
We want to make you happy. So come on out here to Pacific Sporting Arms West, pacificsportingarms.com. Fill up name and get the podcast at firinglineradio.com. We'll be right back after this. You got 3 in the can, man.
No,
You're a pro.
I don't know about that.
Let's talk choke systems.
Yeah.
And what do we have over here you want to show?
So I'll show a Perazzis, a Krieghoffs, and a Longthorn. And I've got 4 guns here. We can talk about them real quick each. It's just awkward going in front of the mic with it.
Yep. Here, why don't you hand me the one? Which is the first one you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the Krieghoff.
You handed it to him. You may never get it back. Just saying.
Well, the Krieghoff,
I got an armed guy up front.
at least it'll be a fair fight.
Yeah.
Okay, this one you can have back.
Too expensive?
Yes. That's beautiful though.
I think that one's what, 50?
40 something, yeah. I'll hold it for you.
Okay.
Okay, Dan.
Here we go.
Yes! Great hunter. Yes? Fine figure of a man, yes? Yes?
Yes.
That is all you need to know for now.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Firing Line Radio Show. Check out our podcasts at firinglineradio.com, firinglineradio.com. Check out the YouTubes. You're going to want to look at this show, especially on the YouTubes, not just to see me, but I'm holding a Krieghoff right now. Jordan, what is the model on this?
So that's a K80. That's their flagship. Clay
I
target.
would move to look at it, but I don't want to drop this thing.
So this gun in its most basic form starts at $12,895. This particular example is just under $50,000.
It's absolutely gorgeous. So what makes this a $50,000 firearm?
So all the fundamental things that make the gun $13,000 are still there. Everything on top of that is jewelry. You've got a completely 100% hand engraved receiver. It has portraits of pheasants. It has grouse on it and partridges, scroll engraving, and gold wire all across the receiver. And then you also have a beautiful piece of exhibition grade walnut.
Absolutely. Absolutely beautiful. Now, the engravers aren't there some engravers who are very famous and their pieces are
They're more desirable. Absolutely. So there's a handful of engravers that actually fans of different manufacturers prefer on their guns. What's neat about Krieghoff is they have different people engrave their guns from all over Europe. Certain manufacturers stick to the same guys, and so the styles are different. But then one of the neatest things about Krieghoff is that you can commission a gun, or you can get one of their catalog patterns, and they have a catalog pattern that's fully hand done, but you could have 4 or 5 different ones all done by different guys, and they're all a little bit different.
right. It's hand engraved.
It's actually adds to the charm of it, and it's your gun.
These are charming. Sticking out the end of this barrel here, I wanted to touch this. touch on this subject, chokes. So shotgun shooting, you know, you went in, you got the 870, it's got an improved, a mod, and a full.
Yeah.
That's your basics.
That's your basics. So modern shotguns from, you know, since the 1980s or so have regularly coming with choke tubes. So a choke tube controls the size of a pattern at a given distance. And
it's like a funnel or like a traffic cone kind of shape.
exactly. Yeah, it constricts the shot in the barrel so it doesn't spread out as quickly, or it spreads out more quickly at a given distance. And some guns come with removable ones like the one you're holding, so you can change them out. You can control the size of that pattern based on what you're going to be shooting. Other guns, they're machined into the bore, so you're always going to shoot the same chokes over and over and over again, regardless of what you're shooting at or how far away it is. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of the range that you're going to be shooting, the kind of birds or targets you'll shoot. But they're going to become and are becoming more common because of the worldwide push towards non-toxic shot. A fixed choke barrel it's very, very hard on a fixed choke barrel to shoot, say, steel shot through it. It adds a lot of wear and pressure, where choke tubes can absorb that pressure, and it puts less stress on the barrels.
Or you'd use a wider one for
you would. And as time is going on, the manufacturers are getting better at it. So the choke tubes, the constrictions aren't as more open as they used to be for steel. Because unfortunately in California now we have a lead ban in hunting statewide. And unfortunately it probably is going to become nationwide within the next 20 to 30 years. I would not be surprised. It's going that way in Europe. And it's something everyone has to prepare for. So you're going to see more choke tube guns as time goes on anyway, because it's just a more practical solution to that problem.
Very good. I'm going to put this over here.
Yes, please.
And what do you have next?
So this is a gun that we import from Spain. This is a Grulla. We discussed these at the beginning. It's a side-by-side. I believe this is a 20. This is a 20 gauge.
Oh yeah, I can tell. They tend to have more slender grips also.
They do. The whole receiver is very tiny. This the English part of the stock where you put your hand is very, very slim.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the gun very quick and very fast
and beautiful.
And very beautiful. And so this is a copy.
Who doesn't like a slim waist? That's
right. Absolutely. I'm in that boat myself.
Absolutely beautiful. And this is made in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
The stocks, folks, if you just saw the quality of the wood, it's just absolutely amazing. And the fit and finish, you know, I don't know. I'm at a loss of words here, which is pretty unusual. But
so one of the coolest things about this brand is that if you want a really handmade gun, a Spanish gun is one of the ways to go if you want something affordable, because these guns are still made in a very old-fashioned way. All of the lines you see on the receiver there on the top,
mm-hmm.
They're all hand chiseled. They don't have CNC machines. These companies have been in business since about 1912 or 90 years. So whatever that is, but it's still hand chiseled. All of the actions are hand filed and hand fit. All the holes that hold the pins, all the holes that hold the screws together, they're all put there by hand. So you could actually buy 2 or 3 different guns and they'll all be a little bit different from one another, depending on what gunsmith built the gun that day.
I think you should buy 2 or 3 different guns.
You should have at least 3.
Jordan needs to work on his retirement plan.
Yes, please, buy 10.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It's also fully hand engraved.
Yeah.
They put the barrels together by hand. It's a copy of an English gun, Holland and Holland. That's kind of how they got started. It's almost a part for part copy of a Holland and Holland, but it's affordable. I mean, that sounds ridiculous. I think the gun is in the mid $20,000, but the English equivalent of that gun would be about $150,000.
Right. Yep. Wow. Okay, let's show one more.
This is a newest addition to our company. This is an English maker, Longthorn. And so this is kind of what we talked about earlier with the melding of modern and old gun making. So if you want to just grab that.
Sorry. Modern and old. So what makes this modern? What makes this old?
So the barrels are all made out of one piece of steel. In the past, you have 2 tubes that you solder together and
right.
put the ribs together. both of those barrels, the ribs, everything, it's all one piece of metal.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
And the whole thing is machined and gun drilled throughout the manufacturing process.
So the points of
one
impact
piece.
are perfect.
They're actually manufactured. The regulation is done as the barrels are being made.
So explain regulation real quick.
So you've got two barrels that you basically glue either next to each other or on top of each other
On a basic side by side or over under.
Right.
The ones have been manufactured for hundreds of years.
and you have to make sure that those two tubes converge at the same point. So one shot doesn't shoot 30 feet to the right and the other shot shoots straight on. You want both barrels to shoot at the same place. And there's a whole art to making a barrel. And a lot of time goes into that. It's the most expensive part of these guns to manufacture. These guys have found a way to manufacture them out of one piece of steel. It's not actually a new invention, but it's the first time it's ever been done in a way that is practical and usable and affordable. That gun starts about $15,000. It's got completely interchangeable barrels too. So another modern aspect of this gun is that you can buy another set of barrels. Say if you buy a 12 gauge and you want to have a 28 gauge, you can buy those barrels, they'll ship them to you and you just throw them on the receiver and shoot. There's only one other brand in the entire industry that can do that.
And that's because the fit of the barrels to each receiver is a little, they have to be
hand
made,
to maintain their strength. And so they wear
right
evenly and so on.
Wow, this is beautiful. And it's a little lighter color stock.
And you can make that gun any way you want. Custom stock dimensions. I can make the barrels 24 inches long. I can make them 35 inches long. You can make them heavy. You can make them light. You can do anything you want with that gun. And it's pretty amazing.
Very nice. And again, this company was Longthorn
in England.
Very
And it's
cool.
as a matter of fact, another neat thing about that gun, it's the only gun made in England that's 100% made in their factory. You know, Holland, Purdy's, Boss, they buy the tubes for their barrels, they buy components for their guns and they assemble them. The guns aren't 100% made in their factories.
All right. Well, let's end the show on this one.
Perazzis. So this is another one of our premier brands. It's probably one of the most well-accomplished clay target gun manufacturers in the world, with dozens of Olympic titles.
I just feel more manly just holding this. This is just like boosted my testosterone 60 points right there.
It's probably one of the prettiest, sexiest guns ever made.
Well, the Italians, right? We've got this flair for design, and boy, did they put it on this one.
They did. And
what's the model on this?
That's a high tech. That's their newest iteration of their original MX8 clay target gun. Another company that the gun is completely customizable. Their guns start about $12,000 with no engraving. And I can put any stock dimensions. I can put any barrel length. I can do anything that you want with that gun.
Absolutely beautiful. Folks, I want to thank my special guest, Jordan, the general manager of Pacific Sporting Arms. And don't come down here to slobber on them, but come down here and buy a wonderful firearm.
Please do.
Right. This Perazzis is absolutely gorgeous. And it's hard to explain on air what we're looking at here, but this is the fit, the finish, everything about it. It's like seeing a Ferrari for your first time. Folks, thank you for my special guest. Again, you get the podcast, firinglineradio.com. Check him out at pacificsportingarms.com. We'll see you all next week. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, I'm going to let you pick these up.
I'm terrified how that's going to turn out.
What, the show? Oh, you're champ. No big deal.
How do I unshare? Wrong button.
Oh, those last two were $44,000. Amazing, beautiful guns.
I'll take a dozen.
I know. Well, they only cost $20, right? Just write a check. Your check bounces. It's $20.
Yeah, but he's armed. That's the scary part.
Well, I bet they are. Yeah, it's an amazing place. I'm going to buy a case for my double rifle while I'm here, and a good sling for it.
You ready for a promo?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me get
Ready?
Again. Hang on a second. Just a second. All right, now we're rolling. Go ahead.
Hey folks, Philip Naiman, Firing Line Radio Show, heard Saturdays at 1:00. This week, my special guest is Jordan, General Manager of Pacific Sporting Arms West in Azusa. You're going to find out about high-end shotguns like you never have before. Join us for Saturday's special show, 1:00, firinglineradio.com. Got a hiccup in there, but you'll fix that, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't care. All right. Thanks, buddy.
All righty.
Bye.
Talk to you next week.